Hi. So I've talked a little bit about how to speak your truth and how to speak your truth with love in relationships. And today I'm going to talk about relationships and the chakras. So if you have any kinds of problems at all in relationships, if you have a hard time relating to certain people that you really love and care about, if you find yourself in conflict over and over again and you just can't understand it, and you're doing your best, maybe you're both doing your best, you try and speak your truth, but yet with love in your relationships, and yet you still don't feel heard, or maybe you don't feel understood, or maybe you have a hard time understanding the other. Maybe you hear their words, but it just doesn't compute 100%. Stick around for the next 10 minutes, 10 or 15 minutes, because I want to talk about the chakras in relation to the natural elements and how that affects all of our relationships, and what we can do, how we can utilize the elements within the chakras, the natural elements, to improve our relationships. So I'm Cheryl the Chakra Shaman, and I love helping people express their truth and the truth of who they truly are so they can live with purpose. We all are on a path to find our own purpose, and the sooner we express that and really live that, the better. And relationships are a part of all of our lives. Maybe you don't even have any friends or relatives. Maybe you're alone. But there's going to be someone. There's still the relationship with the person at the grocery store when we're paying. There's still someone we're going to run into. It could be at work, even if it's not at work. Strangers, we can have a very brief relationship with a stranger, even with our mask on. It's even more difficult with masks on, that we can't see each other's faces completely. So I would like to explain about how each one of us is connected or lives in primarily one chakra most of the time. Yes, we're all kind of in our heads. We're all working at being in our hearts more. That's how humanity is evolving right now. And we're all working at expressing ourselves, or most of us, a lot of us, expressing our truth and the truth of who we are, expressing what's really in our hearts and being honest and vulnerable. And so with the chakras, when I say, well, we all kind of live in one chakra, we're often operating from one chakra or one particular element. So I'll start with the root chakra. And the root chakra is very much about the earth element. And earth, if you think about it, it doesn't move too easily. Sure, there can be an earthquake, but those don't even happen all over the world. But earth is solid. It's like a giant rock. You know, sometimes people say, oh, that person is my rock. He's my rock. She is my rock. No matter what goes on, they are always there for me. Earth people are very reliable. They don't move quickly. They don't change their minds too easily. They are often adverse to change, but they're going to be there for you. Solid, stable, and we get a sense of safety in that, in their stability. We get a sense of safety. We can relax. We're not worried about things toppling over, so to speak. Security. Yeah, just really solid. And they're sort of earth people. We can think of them, they're sort of the salt of the earth. And so, you know, they're the people that can relax and stay calm through all kinds of situations, through almost anything, where someone else might just fly off the handle at something. The earth person can endure it. They can endure it. They have that stability. They're wonderful to have around. And the sacral chakra is very much about water. It has this natural flow to it. And it's not like it's the only element in that chakra. All the chakras really contain all the elements, but each one has a particular strength in one element, as do we as human beings. We have all the elements in us. We have all the chakras. We have everything. We're filled with love and light. But the water in the sacral chakra really represents that flow of creativity, artistic expression, and that can be in so many ways in the arts. It's also our sexuality, passion, and one-on-one relationships, how we relate with others. And there's a flow to that. There's a natural flow and expression that comes from that. And watery people love to be around others. They love to connect. They like the flow of conversation. They like the gathering often of groups. They like to be with people. People are so important to them. They benefit very much from the earth, you know, and if you mix a watery person and an earth person, you kind of get mud, but mud is really nice. Mud is a lot of fun, and there's a flow to it, but it slows it down. It slows it down. And we can also have within these elements, there can be a distortion where there's too much of that element in the chakra, or maybe there's too little, too much, too little. Maybe someone's water is off kilter, it's out of whack, and so it's not flowing the way it naturally needs to. So even within the chakra and within the element, we each have a unique way of being in that. Our energy is unique to us. The energy in each of our chakras is unlike anybody else's. It's ours. Nobody has the exact same chakra. And so I'm just going to get off topic a little bit, because I just think of all the colors of the chakras. They are not those standard colors. I do chakra readings all the time. People have different energies and different colors. So if we think of them more as energetic, the colors represent the chakra, but it's more like that was one person's view. Sure, I see red in the root chakra, but I also see burgundy. When I see burgundy, that takes a long time to establish that depth of color in the root chakra. I don't see burgundy in young people. I see burgundy in the root chakra in older people. So I invite you all to get really burgundy in your root chakra. It's depth. It's that vitality in the root, that strength of stability. There's so much that comes with that. Okay, so back to the sacral chakra, the second chakra, very much about water, flow, connection. And then we go up to the solar plexus, and that chakra is so much about truth and power. It is, you know, who we are developmentally. That's when we really individuate, is in the solar plexus. We become the I am. But it's truth and power and fire. And so you look at fiery people often want to know the truth. It's like, give me the truth, give me the truth. And there's so much power in that. And they can do anything when they know the truth. It's like, don't hold me back. If I know this is true, I'm just going to indulge in that. I'm a very fiery person, and I get really passionate about certain things, and you can't hold me back from helping the world in a particular way. And there's just all this energy and vitality that can go into that. So a fiery person tends to, they're not like Earth. Earth is going to, they don't move too quickly. If there's a new idea, say they want to move or something, they're going to have to think things over, at least sleep on it overnight. They need to do the research. Where a fiery person, they just trust their gut. It's like, oh, this is true for me. That's what I'm doing. I'm jumping in with both feet. Off I go. Very fiery. Very fiery. And of course, like I said, we all have all the elements within us. So each person's fire is unique to them. But you can see, how is fire going to mix with water? It creates steam. What a wonderful relationship that is. Steam. It's zesty. There's a certain amount of vitality to it. So you have all this communication and flow and connection, and then all this high energy. What a wonderful relationship. And it may sound like too much for some people, that's just way too much. And I used to think that maybe fire and earth can have its challenges. All the elements are going to have its challenges, and all the elements are going to have its joys. But fire and earth creates a volcano. You want to have volcanoes in your relationship because earth sits there and you know, is really stable, but the earth can really hold the fiery person. And we often love in the other what we don't have as much in ourselves. I'm married to an earth person. I love our relationship. We end up with, we have a lot of intense spiritual conversations that we both just enjoy very much. And my husband loves my fire. He just laughs when I react the complete opposite to the way he would react to certain things. And he just laughs, he just chuckles. And yep, that's my wife. And then I laugh when he, you know, he wants to go at things slowly and I want to jump up and down, let's go. So we have some good laughs about it, but all the elements can marry together very well, can come together very nicely. And then to me, the heart has all the elements. The heart is very much about compassion and love. And it's more of that sacral chakra, but it's a deeper connection into all of humanity. There's just so much going on in the heart chakra. And I think we all can understand the heart chakra is where we feel our emotions and where we can really go into deep emotions. And I will let you know that all the chakras hold emotion. We have wounds, which I consider stuck emotions. I do healings all the time, pulling that kind of energy out of the chakras. So things can get stuck in us. These energies are constantly flowing. Chakras are never stagnant, and the energy that flows through them is never stagnant completely. I haven't seen that yet. And then we come up to the throat chakra, and it's very much air. The throat chakra and the third eye, it's like this flow that needs to happen. And the throat chakra could even be considered as ether with all the elements. But it's a natural flow that needs to happen. And unfortunately, most throat chakras have a lot of blocks in them. That's the number one chakra that I see. I've seen in people for years, and myself personally, big time throat chakra issues for many years. And so it's one to work on, and it's actually where we express all the lower chakras. It's where they all come up. So the root chakra has to come up and be expressed out the throat, and the sacral chakra, the solar plexus, and the heart. But how do we look at this through relationships, and how can we combine these elements and the chakras with our relationships? And the throat chakra, of course, because that's where we're communicating. All the communication comes out, and communication is not just talking. Communication is listening. It's hearing the other and understanding them and taking them in as best we can. So it's how well do we hear the other? How well do we receive them? And often we need to do that consciously. We might get triggered, and then you know what it's like. If you get triggered, you don't hear the other person, or maybe they're yelling, and you can say, you know, they're in their fire element and they're just burning things up. Then, you know, often we can just say, well, I'll listen to you better when we can both be calm. So that might be the thing. But anyway, with the chakras, so you're either going to be spending your time in earth, water, fire, or air. Air is also, it's very much the third eye chakra. It's the third eye. So it's not so much our culture. We've all been kind of conditioned to be in our heads, and that can be confused with the third eye. The third eye is really about our intuition. It's about our divine intuition, but it's also, some people don't even know how great their intuition is. The third eye is that capacity to see beyond what others can see, and that openness to seeing and to knowing at a deeper level. These people with really high intuition, you get all kinds of psychics with great third eyes that are really, really well developed. And you put that with fire, you put that air with fire, and air is really going to feed that fire in another person. Because how does that work? Well, you think the elements, if you put a lot of air, if you've ever had a campfire or something like that, and you wave a frisbee, we used to use frisbees to get the fire going. It's going to, you give all that oxygen to the fire, and it's just going to get bigger and bigger and bigger, and it's going to burn stronger and stronger and stronger. So an air person that can see the truth, can calculate, can reflect on things and absorb information, and just has that amazing capacity to know things and retain them. And they speak to a fire person, and the fire person just takes all this truth in, and it's just so powerful for that fire person. So they're naturally going to get excited. They get excited over truth. So with those two, the air can really feed the fire, and that can be a glorious thing for a relationship. But we can also have a lot of difficulties, like earth and fire can be really difficult, that it can create a volcano. The fire person, wants to get going and do stuff and be active and have ideas and pursue things, and even in conversations, and they get excited, and the earth person wants to sit there and do it at their own pace, and that can drive the fire person crazy. Like, can you move it, please? Can you go a little faster? So it can cause conflict. But if we understand that person, if we understand, the fire person understands that their way is to go slower. So I just need to do something else while they're going slower. Or I need to encourage them to take their time and really support and respect them. But the big thing is that understanding. It's that understanding which then gives us respect. Then we can just respect that they're different. Their element is different. They live in a different primary chakra than we do. And we all go up and down the chakras, and we all need to have our chakras in good shape. But when I do chakra readings, nobody has all their chakras in good shape. There's always one or two or even three that need help. And so remembering that as well, that none of us are perfect. None of us are perfect. And so even, you think of air and water. If you mix air and water, how is that going to turn out? Any of the combinations. And I could go on here, and there's all the difficulties and challenges that go on in relationships with respect to the elements, but having that understanding helps us move through them. And then there's all the areas to celebrate. There's no such thing as a bad relationship with respect to the chakras and with respect to the elements. When there's love, there's love. When we love someone, the attitude is more like, how can I love you better? How can we relate better? How can we feel more connected? I remember when I was first together with my husband, and I remember we were arguing about something. I was just upset with him and disappointed and whatever was going on. And I just tuned into my heart, and I thought, I don't want this. I just want to feel close. So that's what I said to him. I don't want this. I just want to feel close. I want us to be close. I want us to be able to talk about these things and get closer when we learn more about each other and understand each other better. And he just looked at me and he said, really? Okay. And it changed everything. And so I learned to say it again and again. And so he just kind of got to know that, well, really underneath it all, I just want to be close. I want to be real close. And so then we can, if we have that attitude with anybody, it can be with our kids, it can be with anyone. If we want to be close, let them know. And look at the chakras, look at our differences and celebrate them. All these elements. all the differences in the chakras, where we reside primarily. And what that does, that keeps the energy flowing, and it naturally heals. It naturally creates stronger energy and health in our energetic chakras. So thank you for listening to me today. If you're interested at all in a chakra reading, you can hop on my website, cherylstelt.com, or I will post a link to my chakra reading right here. Thank you so much.